We're going to wait for all members to be on the floor. Senator Hill, thank you. Members, we are going to file item 68. Senator Monning. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 939 by Senator Monning, enacting the continuing care contracts.
Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Assembly amendments to Senate Bill 939 delete the requirements for the continuing care retirement community to pay a portion of the lump sum payment owed to the resident after 120 days if the unit is not resold. Additionally, amendments define CCRC contracts with lump sum payments owed upon resale of the unit as repayable contract and other technical amendments. Members, I respectfully ask for your aye vote on the Assembly amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Monning. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Cannella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Weso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Mitchell. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk.
Thank you. Senator Monning moves the call. File item 69, Senator Morlock. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1255 by Senator Morlock, enacting the family law.
Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, colleagues. I shared last time that marriage is grand and divorce is 50 grand. Colleagues, colleagues, this is a bill that helps couples when they're dissolving their marriage, where they may have the need to take care of their kids before they sell the house or move out separately. And this allows for the official date of separation to be earlier while they're still living together. Senate Bill 1255 was approved without opposition on the Senate floor on May 9th, which happens to be the 36th anniversary of the day I proposed to my wife. Just sentimental, too. It passed overwhelmingly on the Assembly floor this week, so with their amendments. So I request, colleagues, that you either vote for it or I read the bill to you right now.
No threats on the Senate floor.
With that, I urge and I vote. Thank you, Madam
Thank you,
President.
Senator Morlock. Members, yes, Senator Jackson.
Sorry.
A question of the author?
Question of the author. The bill came through the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's a very, the issue is quite contentious of when parties separate. It sometimes means a difference in a significant amount of income, issues affecting the family in general. And I would just be interested if you would articulate briefly what the amendments were that were taken over in the Assembly that make the bill different than the bill that we heard in the Judiciary Committee and that came off our floor.
That's a great question, and the amendments were so minor that I don't have them memorized, so I apologize to the senator from Santa Barbara County.
All right, thank you, Senator Morlock. Members, any further discussion or debate? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Cannella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Weso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wykowski. I. Wolk.
Senator Morlock moves to call. File item 70, Senator Glazer. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Joint Resolution 15 by Senator Glazer relative to the Confederate States of America.
Senator Glazer.
Madam President, members, this resolution is back from the Assembly for concurrence. The only changes in the measure were the addition of co-authors, and with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Glazer. Seeing no discussion or debate, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. No. Bates. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Cannella. I. DeLeon. I. Fuller. No. Gaines. Galgiani. I. Glazer. I. Hall. Hancock. I. Hernandez. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Wisso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. Latta. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. Morlock, I. No. Morrell. Wynn. I. Nilsson. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. Stone. Vidak. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Jackson, I. Hall, I. Mitchell, I. Hernandez, I.
Senator Glazer moves to call. Members, we are now going to go to Senate third reading. We will start with file item 71. Senator Lara. Pass on file. File item 72, Senator Lara. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 79 by Senator Lara relative to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Pride Month.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Today I'm presenting Senate Resolution 79, which declares June as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month. LGBT Pride acknowledges our collective journey towards dignity, understanding, and mutual respect for all, while recognizing that we still have a long way to go in overcoming the prejudice and discrimination that LGBT people face every day. This resolution recognizes the individuals who had the courage to come out to their families, friends, neighbors, and coworkers. We honor the numerous LGBT organizations that are making a difference in California and across the nation. We celebrate the accomplishments and contributions of LGBT people in every field of endeavor that have enriched our lives. June has also been a time to celebrate some of the major milestones and accomplishments in the movement towards full equality. 47 years ago, members, patrons, and supporters of the Stonewall Inn in New York City resisted police brutality. As police began dragging some of the patrons out of the bar, members of the LGBT community decided to fight back, sparking 3 days of rioting, an action that became the early impetus for the gay civil rights movement. And this month also marks the yearly anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to strike down provisions of DOMA and reaffirming gay marriage in California. However, much remains to be done in advancing full equality and justice in our community. This year, especially a somber reminder of this fact, the tragedy in Orlando, Florida, that left 49 dead and 53 others wounded, reminds us that discrimination, bigotry, and homophobia are alive today. And despite the recent growing acceptance of the LGBT community within America, violence against LGBT individuals is still widespread. According to the report by the National Coalition of Anti-Violence Prevention, homicides against the LGBT community have considerably increased in recent years, rising from 74 homicides between 2001 and 2006 to 192 between 2007 and 2014. In addition, transgender women and LGBTQ individuals of color are subject to a greater risk of homicide, Further data collected by the coalition suggests that 20 to 25% of LGBT individuals experience hate crimes within their lifetime. The tragic events in Orlando, along with the continued violence experienced by the LGBT community, is glaring proof that the fight is not over. Our struggles to be recognized and accepted are not over as well. And for those reasons, I respectfully ask for you to support SR 79.
Thank you, Senator Lara. Under discussion and debate, Senator Jackson.
Thank you, Madam President and colleagues. On behalf of the Legislative Women's Caucus, I too rise in support of this resolution that declares June, the month of June, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Pride Month. While this month marks the anniversary of one of the most impactful and to many inspiring civil rights victories in history, holding that people of all sexual orientations have a constitutional right to marry, this month also brings a devastating reality into focus. The unthinkable tragedy that took place in Orlando was a concrete and visceral reminder that hatred, persecution, and discrimination against LGBT individuals and communities are still alive and well. As chair of the Legislative Women's Caucus and ally of the LGBTQ community, I would like to echo the words of President Obama, who reminds us that, quote, when all Americans are treated as equal, no matter who they are or whom they love, we are all more free. I rise in support of this resolution to declare the month of June LGBT Pride Month because it is with pride, both from and for the LGBT community, that we may all one day know this freedom.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. There are a few words that I can add to Senator Lara's fine presentation, but I do just want to add a few additional thoughts. Just this past week, recognizing 47 years since the Stonewall riot, and these were street-fighting transgender and drag queens who were fed up with having police come into their bars, beat them up, literally with their nightsticks, and drag them out and arrest them for being themselves. So it was a very different time, but these folks finally stood up for themselves, and that was the beginning of what we recognize as the modern LGBT civil rights movement. But to indicate where we have come in these past 47 years, President Obama designated the Stonewall Inn, which still exists in Greenwich Village, as a national monument. And that says a lot about how the public consciousness has moved. I also want to add that 3 years before the Stonewall riots in 1969, in '66 in San Francisco, we had a similar version at some place called Compton Cafeteria, and a similar group of folks who interacted with police in a negative way on a daily basis also stood up for their rights. And so that's Compton Cafeteria, and we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of that. But Senator Lara is correct in that of all hate crimes in this country, those who are from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community are most likely to be victims of hate crimes. And of those, vast majority are transgender people of color. So we still have a lot of work yet to do, but given that this is the last time I will be able to speak on a June Pride Month resolution, I want to make this comment. When I arrived 14 years ago, anything LGBT civil rights related was a severely partisan issue. And there would be debates, and if you go back to some of the debates in the late 90s, if not early 2000s, you would see the Bible being quoted by Democrats on one side and Republicans on the other, and there were furious and very painful debates. But here we are, through my 14 years of experience, and in that same 14-year period, just coincidentally, we have passed over 100 pieces of legislation that have been signed into law that are relative to LGBT civil rights. But 14 years later, I am very proud to say, and I want to thank my Republican colleagues, because it is no longer a severely partisan issue. And I think that's both because public sentiment and opinions on this issue have moved It's been recognized as a civil rights movement, that we are, as President Obama said, a more perfect union when we are inclusive of everyone's respect, dignity, and validation. So in my parting June Pride Month comments, I just want to say thank you to my colleagues who have held hands, worked, friendships established, minds and hearts changed, and that's all for the better, and I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Leno. Senator Hueso.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I rise as the Vice Chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. I rise in support of this measure. Being Latino, I'm very well aware of hate crimes against the community. In fact, in the Latino community, hate crimes are on the rise in California, and we have a lot of work to do in that area. But there should be no place for hate in California. I want to thank the author's work on behalf of the LGBT community. Thank our wonderful Senator Mark Leno for his amazing work over the years, pushing the agenda forward and developing an understanding in our state about the importance and the value of tolerance and the contributions that the LGBT community make. Latinos, we're increasingly having similar issues. We're facing intolerance. We're facing hatred out there in the community, and as we see, we have a candidate that's running openly on an agenda of hating members of our community. It's very dangerous, and it could pose an enormous risk to the well-being and to the quality of lives of people in all of our communities. Where there is hatred toward any people in our community, we run the risk of creating instability and uncertainty and crime in communities where we need to have peace and freedom and understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hueso. Senator Block.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam President. As Chair of the Legislative Jewish Caucus, I also rise in support of this resolution. It wasn't really that long ago during World War II when members of the LGBTQ community and members of the Jewish community faced the same fate at the hands of the European aggressors. And understanding as a Jewish people what discrimination does and what is the cost of discrimination allowed to be unfettered, we stand with our LGBTQ brothers and sisters in support of June as LGBTQ Pride Month.
Thank you, Senator Block. Senator Mitchell.
Thank you very much. As a member of the California Legislative Black Caucus, we too stand side by side with our brothers and sisters of the LGBTQ caucus in support of SR 79. Thank you, Senator Pavley just corrected me. Thank you, Senator Pavley. In all seriousness, I think the floor statement by our colleague from San Francisco summed up the collective experience of all underrepresented people in terms of having a place and space in this hall to make sure that we are bringing all of our collected rainbow life experience and perspective to policymaking. Again, we stand in support of SR 79.
Thank you, Senator Mitchell. Senator Lara, would you like to close?
Thank you, members, for rising in support of this important resolution, and to personally thank Senator Leno for his years of work. There's no question that a lot of us stand on your shoulders, and the tremendous work you've done to bring to light the issues in the LGBT community. Under your leadership as well, our LGBT caucus has grown, and most importantly, continues to diversify and to demonstrate that LGBT people exist within all ethnicities, in all walks of life. And to be able to serve with Speaker John Perez and I, and to finally add some salsa to the LGBT caucus was something that was very meaningful to me and to our caucus. As we continue to grow, we continue to evolve, and very soon prepare ourselves to welcome our first API LGBT caucus member. And so again, talking about the importance of our community and showing our tremendous diversity. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart, Senator Leno, for all the work you've done, for laying the foundation for us to move forward and continue this fight for justice. There's no doubt that you are a leader not only in our great state of California, but throughout our country. Muchas gracias. I really appreciate your service. and what you've done for me in particularly. Members, I also, as we celebrate today this resolution, to share with you some breaking news as the Pentagon just right now lifted the ban allowing transgender men and women to serve openly in our U.S. military. So congratulations to us again in this great country of ours that is proof positive that this is the best country in the world. And we continue, we're not perfect, but we continue to strive for equality and justice. So with that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Leno. Senator Lara, excuse me, but thank you also, Senator Leno, for your inspirational words. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. No. Bates. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wesso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Morrell. Wynn. Nilsson. Pan. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Rakowski. Aye. Wolk. Wynn. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye.
Thank you. Senator Hall, Senator Lara moves to call. File item 73, Senator Lara. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 126 by Senator Lara relative to Honorable Edward Ross Roybal.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, members and Madam President. This resolution honors and celebrates the contributions of the Honorable Ed Roybal to California and to the communities that he represented throughout LA County. For those of us who are elected Latinos, particularly those of us from Los Angeles, we follow in his footsteps and walk along a trail that was blazed by Ed Roybal. Ed began his career of service in the U.S. Army during World War II. On returning to LA, he created the Community Service Organization, fighting against discrimination in housing, employment, and education. He began his political career in 1949, winning election to the Los Angeles City Council. From there, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives on November 6, 1962, serving for 30 years until 1992, when he was succeeded by his daughter, our Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard. But it is his accomplishments and his legacy that he leaves behind that deserves our recognition today in his 100-year anniversary of his passing. When Ed Roybal was elected to the LA City Council, he became the first Latino elected to that position since 1881. When he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, he was the first Latino from California to serve in Congress since 1879. In 1967, Ed Roybal authored the first bilingual education bill to provide local school districts assistance with special bilingual teaching programs. In 1976, he helped found the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and served as its first chair. During his 30 years of service in the U.S. House of Representatives, Ed Roybal dedicated himself to protecting the rights of underrepresented communities, the elderly, and our physically challenged. But beyond those incredible achievements for Latinos in elected office, Ed Roybal's legacy was the foundation for so many of us to follow. He founded the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials, NALEO, which I am a proud board member of. NALEO works to improve Latino participation in the American political process and provides guidance and leadership to inspire more Latinos to engage in the political process, to seek elective office, and to pursue executive and judicial positions. Who could have imagined or dreamed when Ed Roybal became the first California Latino elected in Congress in almost 100 years, that today the leaders of both the California Senate and the Assembly would be Latinos from LA County. Ed Roybal dreamed that, and we are all beneficiaries of his dedication and vision. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Lara. Members, is there any discussion or debate? Senator Hertzberg.
Yeah, thank you very much, Senator Lara, with respect to raising this issue. You know, I just wanted to take a moment because I spent a lot of time and started my political career with Congressman Roy Ball, and in those days we called him the congressman because he was the only Latino congressman there was in California at the time. But let me tell you, what was mentioned about his bio was he got elected to city council in 1949. But he represented the Jewish community in large part. In Los Angeles, it's the Fairfax district with the Orthodox and where my grandmother lived, and his community stretched there from Boyle to Boyle Heights. He was an important Latino leader. He was in Congress one of what was called the 13 Cardinals. He was a man of great, deep moral conviction, but he was one of the early and great bridge builders. His values transcended his ethnicity to core values for all folks. Yes, he started in Aleo with Dennis Chavez from New Mexico and others. But he always was part of a larger coalition. He was a fabulous, fabulous fellow, and I am so glad that we're recognizing him here today.
Thank you, Senator Hertzberg. Senator Lara, would you like to close?
Thank you, Madam President, members. Thank you, Senator Hertzberg, for those great words. You know, I have the privilege of being represented by Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard, who really is an icon in her own right. But for us, the Roybal family in LA, in particular the east side of LA, is a family that has really set the tone and an example of what public service really means to us in California. And also importantly to note, as Senator Hertzberg talks, is, you know, we often, role models matter, and be able to have role models that look like you, that come from your community, are important. But also to demonstrate that Latinos can transcend our own ethnicity and be able to represent other communities just as equally with the same fervor and with the same moxie that we have as Latinos, and to demonstrate to the rest of the world that as Latinos, you know, we care about this country. We sacrifice for this country, and his service in our military, his service in city council, and service in Congress really is an example for the rest of us to follow, to ensure that as Latinos in this amazing country of ours, we can contribute, our opinion matters, and that all communities enjoy the ability to be able to recognize such an incredible leader and such an incredible family in our California state history. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Lara. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Wynn. Nilsson. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Nielsen. Aye.
Please call the absent members.
De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Huff. Morrell. Runner. Wolk. Huff. Aye.
Ayes 36, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Members, while we have all of you on the floor, we are going to lift the call on the bills that were on call. We are going to start with file item 143. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
De Leon. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Hall. I. Hertzberg. I. Pan. I. Runner. Wolk.
Ayes 38, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 38, no 0 on the measure. The measure passes. Moving on to file item 174. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Berryhill. De Leon. I. Galgioni. Hall. I. Hueso. Jackson. I. Mitchell. I. Nielsen. No. Runner. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Galgioni, aye.
Ayes 30, no 6. The measure passes. Senator Hill, for what purpose do you rise?
Request immediate transmittal of this, please, to the Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hill. The desk will note. File item 67. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
De Leon. I. Hall. I. Liu. I. Mitchell. I. Runner. Wolk.
Ayes 38, no 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 68. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Bell. I. Berryhill. De Leon. I. Fuller. I. Hall. I. Huff. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Runner. Wolk.
Ayes 37, no 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 69. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
De Leon. I. Hall. I. Jackson. Mitchell. I. Runner. Wolk. Jackson, aye.
Ayes 38, no 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 70. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Allen. Bates. Gaines. Morrell. Nilsen. Runner. Stone. Vidak. I. Wolk.
Ayes 29, noes 3. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 72. Excuse me, Senator Glazer, for what purpose do you rise?
Madam President, would like to request immediate transmittal of that last item to the Assembly.
Thank you, Senator Glazer. The desk will note. File item 72. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Bates. Berryhill. De Leon. I. Fuller. Gaines. Huff. Mendoza. I. Morlock. Morrell. Nielsen. Pan. I. Runner. Wolk.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Ayes 29, noes 1. The measure passes. Members, we will now move back to Senate third reading. File item 74. Senator Liu. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 154 by Senator Liu relative to pain awareness.
Senator Liu.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, SCR 154 declares September 2016 Pain Awareness Month and September 23rd, 2016 Women in Pain Awareness Day. More than 100 million Americans live with chronic pain caused by various diseases and disorders, and nearly 25 million suffer with acute pain. Those afflicted by chronic pain are often stigmatized, leading to marginalization and lack of information about the right to effective pain management. Women have a higher prevalence of chronic pain syndromes and diseases associated with chronic pain than men, yet their pain reports are often taken less seriously. We need more information about the challenges facing Californians living with pain. The measure calls upon all Californians to observe pain awareness by participating in appropriate activities and ceremonies and to learn how to improve the quality of life for people suffering from pain. And I ask for your aye vote in SCR 154.
Thank you, Senator Liu. Members, is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wesso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Nilsson. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wynn. Aye.
Please call the absent members.
Anderson. Aye. Gaines. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Aye. Runner. Wolk.
Ayes 37, no 0. The measure passes. Members, we will move to file item 75. Senator Berryhill.